Like
Well
if you're
said.
on a big production and you're just a production assistant and you walk up to the director and you're like, "Hey, I think you should change this," they're gonna laugh at you and probably not call you back.
That's right. You might not be
Yeah,
coming back.
yeah, probably not.
All right, hello, welcome to this video on Photography TV. We're here to educate, entertain, and inspire you around photography. Today is no exception to that. We have a awesome photographer, Alben Osaki, on the line with us today. And what's exciting about that is a couple things. First, we're going to get to hear Alben's story, his journey as a photographer. He's going to share tips and tricks and all that good stuff. But in addition, what's super exciting is Alben is going to be a regular contributor here on Photography TV. So it's a great opportunity for us to get to know Alben, hear his story, and looking forward to all of his future videos here on the channel. So Alben, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I look forward to it.
Yeah, man, it's going to be awesome. Photography TV is definitely meant to be a place for photographers of a lot of different photographers come, share their stories, stuff like that. So you are the founding new contributor, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing what you bring to the channel.
Thank you. And I've seen, your other interviews with like Von Long and Lee Morris and stuff. So it's definitely flattering that I'm going to be one of those interviews.
Right on. Yeah, you got it. Let's kick it off. So I always start these interviews, Albans, with the comment of, I believe every photographer has a story. I'd love to hear your story as a photographer.
So my story, I guess, started in high school. As a senior, me and my friend would make these like short little videos with his mom's camcorder that we would edit on like Windows Movie Maker or something like that. And it was just kind of a hobby, something we did. And pretty early on in my senior year in high school, I knew I was gonna join the Navy. And I knew that they had like a media job essentially.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that might be something kind of interesting to do. For a number of reasons that never panned out. And I joined the Navy after I left high school, did something completely other than photography for 4 years. And after I got out, I was like, I'm still pretty interested in that. I want to go to school for that. I went to school in New York for a year. I studied film, and then I think that's kind of where it really started to gain traction, I think, with me. After that, I came back to Hawaii, finished school for video or television production, and here I am now.
Now, did you grow up in Hawaii, or was Hawaii part of your Navy experience? How did you land in Hawaii?
Kind of both. So I did grow up here.
Okay.
I joined the Navy. I was in Illinois and San Diego for about a year or so. And then I ended up coming back here for another 3 years.
All right, so let's talk about school for just a minute. So you went to New York for school, then finished up there in Hawaii, TV production. I think a lot of photographers or videographers are question whether, hey, should I go to school for it? Should I just go out and get real world practice? Like, take us through, how would you advise others now having gone through that experience and ultimately making a career of it?
The biggest thing I think I took away from it was you meet a lot of people.
Yes.
And those people a lot of times end up being the people that you go on to work with in the future. So just making those contacts, not only with your other classmates, but like even with your professors. I've gotten a lot of jobs because one of my professors used to work with a production company, and he would like send us out to intern with them, and they liked us enough, I guess, to offer us jobs every now and then and things like that. So like a lot of the technical stuff you can definitely, if you put the time in, I think you can learn on your own.
Yep.
But I think what's most invaluable is just making contacts and meeting all these people. And some of these people I still work with to this day.
Spot on. That's great advice, Alvin, because you could look at it just from, oh, well, the technical, I could either learn that in other ways, but you're absolutely right. It's the technical, which you will learn, but then there's the experiential, the relationships, the contacts, which in any in any business is normally the most important thing, is getting that network built up. And it sounds like that's giving you a big head start there. Take us through your journey post school.
Well, what's funny is since school, I think every video or photo job, I'm pretty sure, that I've ever gotten was through either a former professor or one of my classmates that I graduated with and stuff. So
Yep.
If not all of them, probably like 90% of all the jobs that I've gotten were through them.
Right.
But since graduating, I've done a lot of mostly video stuff. I've done programs for like HGTV.
Nice.
Yeah, Hawaii Life.
Okay.
Travel Channel, Fox Sports, things like that. Luckily, I've had a few freelance jobs. Probably the biggest one I'm doing now is with Time Warner, or I should say Charter Communications, I think they're called now.
Yep.
But they have their own channel here in Hawaii, and they do a lot of high school and college sports for the University of Hawaii.
Yes.
So I edit every now and then. They'll call me in, and I'll go and edit like a couple of interview packages for the college sports.
Yep.
Or sometimes if they need help, I'll go in and, like for their high school sports, I'll be a graphics operator. So if you ever watch sports on TV and
Yep.
you know they have the little score bar on top and stuff, and the numbers are changing and it says timeout and stuff, I'm the one sitting there pressing the buttons, just changing all of that.
Now we know.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I love the stories, Alben. Thanks for sharing them, because your journey in a career in videography and photography, there's so many different ways it can go. And I think so many people are interested in it and just not sure where to begin. And just hearing your experiences can certainly give people different ideas and just understanding of, hey, what's out there. So any other thoughts or things you'd like to share as it relates to kind of your journey as, from a career perspective?
I think one of the most important things for people to realize is you should never stop learning.
That's good.
So the second you start to think to yourself, oh, like I'm there, is the second you stop growing, and you never want to stop growing.
Well said.
And I think the other thing is I've noticed that a lot of people in this field, not just video or photo, but I guess art in general, sometimes they get a little down on themselves, I guess.
Can be tough.
I definitely do. Yeah, it can be tough, especially like there are days where you're like, oh man, what am I doing? Like I should find a real job or something. Especially when you look at you start comparing yourself to other people who are more successful. And I think it's important for people to realize like this is normal. Like everybody kind of goes through this at some point.
Yeah.
And the important thing is to kind of fight through it and stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Like I said, it's learn from them, but don't compare yourself to them.
That's good advice.
That can only bring you down bad roads.
Man, that's good advice. Really good advice, Alben. Thank you. I got a couple different ways I want to take the next couple of questions. So I'm going to go with, we just heard about your current work, career, things that you're working on. Like, take us into the future. What do you have envisioned for the way you want to, go with your creativity and what you want to do? What do you have in mind?
So when I went to school and I learned television production, they kind of prepared us for jobs in the bigger productions like the Fox Sports and HGTV and stuff like that. But a lot of our projects was small groups, so we'd be in groups of 4 or 5, and we'd have to write and storyboard and then go out and actually shoot and edit this project. And I used to think, oh man, I want to go and help make those big Hollywood movies and stuff. But after kind of dipping my toes in that area of production, I've come to realize that I really don't want to do that. I enjoyed the smaller productions where it was just a couple of us
Yeah.
all kind of working together. I think mostly because when you do have such a small group, even if you're just like the sound guy, you're not the director or something like that. When it's such a small group like that, you can still give your input
Yeah.
and make suggestions, and it's all pretty well received.
Well
Like if
said.
you're on a big production and you're just a production assistant and you walk up to the director and you're like, hey, I think you should change this, they're going to laugh at you and probably not call you back.
That's right. You might not
Yeah.
be coming back.
Yeah, probably not. So I think in that way, smaller productions, everyone's more invested in it as well.
That's good.
So since they can put their input out there, they kind of feel like that it's kind of their project as well. So everyone's a lot more motivated to do it,
Yeah.
and I just really enjoy smaller projects like that. With that being said, me and one other friend, we're currently working pre-production on a couple of different projects. The biggest one right now is a documentary. We're not 100% sure how this is going to go yet. It's really early in the game.
Yep.
But if all goes well, hopefully we'll be in Alaska in about 1.5 to 2 years.
Nice.
Filming up in Alaska.
So your work now is just preparing for that, doing all the due diligence, doing all the research, and then perhaps 18 months, 2 years from now, get up there, do all the shooting, recording, and put it all together.
Yeah. So right now it's all the research and stuff like that. And to be honest, it's funny. Sometimes we'll meet and we'll think, oh man, we should just book a ticket and go tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we still have a lot of prep work that we have to do, a lot of money to save. I think when people first start in video, I think it's important for them to kind of be their own producers. But when you're your own producer and you're putting your own money and your own work and your own time into it, you have nobody else to answer to except yourself.
There you go.
So it's way less pressure, and you can have full creative control. And as of right now, that's kind of the route that I want to take.
Okay, right on. Perhaps over the next couple of years, we'll be able to hear some behind the scenes insights and things like that on some of the videos.
Yeah, hopefully. We're definitely trying to shoot some behind the scenes stuff, and I think it'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, just kind of watching that journey lead up to it, right? That'd be super
Yeah.
cool, seeing the story behind it. Because we see so many documentaries, we watch them, we have no idea what goes into it. I mean, the fact that you're doing research, saving, preparing for 2 years, in and of itself is an interesting story. So that way when the real documentary does come out in the future, knowing that story and what took place is fascinating. So good luck with that, and definitely hoping to hear about it along the way.
Thank you.
All right, let's dive into just tips and tricks, things like that. So obviously you have expertise in videography, but also you have great experience and expertise in photography. Let's start with photography, known as PhotographyTV. Any tips or best practices you'd share based on photography?
Like I was saying before, everybody can kind of learn the technical stuff. So everyone can Google how aperture and ISO and shutter speed work and stuff like that. So I think for photography, the biggest thing is when you go to, I feel like everybody kind of starts at landscape photography.
Yeah.
Because it's the most accessible. You don't have to like call friends to model for you or anything like that. So,
and the mountain doesn't like expect you to deliver a good picture. Like,
yeah, it's kind of for yourself.
That's
and,
right.
So I feel like kind of everybody starts there. And the biggest thing I think is when you go to travel or go to different places and stuff, everybody, you go to especially these touristy places and you see everyone taking pictures from this one kind of spot.
Yeah.
And it's fine to take your pictures from there, but I would say try walking 100 feet to the right and then take a picture and see what that looks like where nobody else is standing.
Yeah.
Or 100 feet to the left. Or instead of that wide angle lens, what if you shot this landscape with a zoom lens?
Love it.
So I would say just try different stuff, and you never know what's going to happen. If it's a bad picture, it's a bad picture. Memory's pretty cheap. Just delete it.
That's right.
It's fine. But it could turn out to be something completely amazing just because you took it from a slightly different perspective than where everybody else took it, you know.
Great tip. Great tip. Yeah, perspective and just doing something a little unique is absolutely fantastic. What else?
Another important thing I would say is try to think of your story. So, like I was saying, you can have a million pictures of the Grand Canyon or something, but try to kind of make it unique, because everybody's seen those 1 million pictures of the Grand Canyon. Eventually, people just stop caring. I mean, they might see it, like it, and then they'll just keep on scrolling. So try to make it unique, like maybe photograph the journey up to the Grand Canyon for you, or the journey like down the Grand Canyon if you decide to go hiking down there or something like that. So you can have that one picture of the Grand Canyon, but also, lead up or afterwards or something like that, just to kind of think about your story a little bit, because something you learn in film school, or when I went to TV production, was stories like your most important element. Like you've seen these big budget Hollywood movies, and they have all the gear you could ever hope for and all the people that could ever help you. But if it has a bad story, like nobody goes to watch these movies. Like nobody cares. So story's the most important thing. You can have a cheap camera or cheap lighting equipment or whatever. And this not only for photography or video, but kind of, I would say it kind of works with everything. All art in general is stories, your most important aspect, because that's what's going to really set you apart from everything else, is your unique story.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Alben. I totally agree with that. That does apply to photography. It applies to video. It applies to anything creative, just like you mentioned. Can you think of any trips that you've been on from a photography perspective where you've kind of captured a story, come up with good images that kind of tell a story, so to speak?
I think my favorite country that I've ever been to, at least as far as being amazed at how it looks, is probably Canada.
Okay.
Surprisingly enough, I've been to, Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Spain, Italy, France, kind of Asia and Europe. But I think my favorite is Canada. I just remember driving into the Canadian Rockies for the first time, and I was in the passenger seat, and we're driving between these huge mountains, like right down these huge snow-capped mountains, and it was just unreal. Like It was an unreal experience. I just kept saying, "Wow, look at that mountain," and then like 10 seconds later, I'll be like, "Whoa, but look at that mountain,"
That's good.
So I think that's kind of another tip, I guess you can think of, is, buying new gear is always cool and fun. But sometimes you have to kind of think like, if I don't buy that lens, I could put that money towards traveling to someplace awesome and like taking this picture, this video, or just somewhere you've never been to before. I think traveling just kind of opens your worldview like so much. You get to see how other people and how other cultures do things.
100%. Oh man, speaking to my heart, I love travel. The idea of travel, just hearing where you've been already is inspiring. I don't have nearly the travel depth that you do, but I hope to get it in the future. So awesome.
Yeah, I saw your Yosemite
that was a cool
series.
trip.
Yeah, and that's actually one place that I've never been to that's definitely on my bucket list.
Make it happen.
I keep talking about, and yeah, it's gonna have to happen one of these days for sure.
You'll love it. You'll love it. Cool. Let's use that kind of as a pivot point to talk about YouTube. So you're going to be joining the Photography TV channel just in guests, making contributions, join the channel, perhaps hopefully some travel videos will come out of that. But let's talk about, what do you have in mind, types of videos you want to make and things you plan to share with us?
I think it'd be pretty cool to do, obviously travel, reviews. I can definitely do that. One of my friends actually just purchased the new Panasonic GH5.
Okay.
So I think he's pretty excited to go out and use that. I can probably steal it from him for a couple of days and test it out as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Or at least, talk to him, maybe get his thoughts on it, or something like that. Yeah. And I think it'd also be interesting to do something similar where you take a shot with video and you dissect how you got this
for sure
look or shot or whatever for this video clip that you shot.
That'd be awesome, because I saw some of your videos on your channel, which again we'll link to, and I was just thinking like, okay, how to get that cinematic look, whether it's color grading or just what the settings were. So I totally agree. I think that's awesome. So that just gives us a little taste of the types of things you're going to bring to the channel. I mean, heck, just walking around there in Hawaii, I'm sure you're going to be able to show some pretty spectacular things. May not even have to travel that far, and you can blow our minds with some pretty cool stuff there, I'm sure. So we're definitely looking forward to that.
Also, I think it'd be pretty cool to do like more BTS into what like goes into making these videos and stuff like that. I think it'd be pretty interesting to see. Totally. I remember when I was little, and I'd watch these movies, one of my favorite things to do afterwards is watch if they had like a special feature behind the scenes or whatever, like that was one of my most favorite things to do. That's right. Especially with movies that you really love or enjoy and stuff.
100%. The extras on the DVD, it's like, that sucks me in just as much as the movie.
Yeah,
you can see the behind the scenes. I love it. Yep. So definitely looking forward to seeing what you come up with there, and excited to have you as part of the Photography TV community for sure.
Thank you. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for joining us for the interview. Alben, awesome story. Great tips along the ways. We're definitely looking forward to seeing what you have in store with us in the future. And, this is just the beginning. Let's get started.
Awesome. Will do.